People don't manage their money well for a variety of reasons. A few of the reasons are valid, but the most are essentially veiled excuses for not wanting to spend 10 minutes conducting any research. Some criticize the educational system for not teaching them about money. It's also typical for people in their 20s to wish that their educational institutions had included personal financial instruction. But guess what? The majority of colleges do. You just didn't accept them. The awful truth is that you are not helpless victims. You are responsible for your own money, and the sooner you grasp this, the sooner you can begin working on them. The first step is to confess some of the most typical financial falsehoods that individuals tell themselves, as well as to discuss the top 10 lies about money. Welcome to Empire Investing, the channel for aspiring millionaires and billionaires. If this is your first time watching our channel, please consider subscribing to see more videos just like this. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. Number 1. I don't need to save because I'm never going to retire. Isn't it incredible that somebody would even consider not retiring? Don't you think it's mind-blowing? Some people have worked for years with little money to show for it, so it's no surprise that the majority of them are miserable. Others are young and have no notion that their ability to generate revenue may decline as they become older. Some people really like their professions and do not believe they will ever want to leave them. They do not, however, consider the possibility that they may not be physically capable of continuing to work. So how can you get rid of this way of thinking? Before you roll your eyes and claim it's self-evident, please hear us out. Because we are all human beings who are frail and susceptible to illness, expecting us to be able to work endlessly is risky. We will not only lose our income, but we will also suffer a substantial expenditure if you have little to no savings and poor health. Instead of assuming you'll be able to work for the rest of your life, keep in mind that a little money saved each month during your working life, which, FYI, you can start right now, will build into a lot of money over decades if properly invested. Rather than seeing saving as a plan for one day being able to stop working, consider the sort of lifestyle you want to live and acknowledge that saving may be the only way to preserve it in the future. Number 2. To get rich is a bad desire. Obsessing over money and being greedy is abhorrent, but striving for a better future for yourself and your family is not. As a result, you must strike a balance between the two. Having additional cash opens up a world of opportunities for you and others around you. You've heard it before and you'll hear it again 1,000 times more throughout your lifetime. It's not only about money when it comes to becoming wealthy, it's also about living a prosperous life. Obviously, this implies various things to different people. For some, it means having the financial means to pursue their hobbies. Others define it as the ability to hire a home cleaner once a week. Consider what a prosperous life means to you and use that as motivation to take efforts to enhance your money. Number 3. Investing is complicated and too risky. What makes people believe this? People are sometimes scared by investing because they are unfamiliar with the vocabulary or the appropriate questions to ask. After all, there has been a lot of attention paid to Ponzi schemes and individuals like Bernie Madoff. People don't like to be taken advantage of or make hasty judgments because of these and a slew of other considerations. To get around this, you must first grasp that not investing at all is a huge error since inflation erodes your purchasing power year after year. Your investment portfolio should comprise a broad portfolio with various levels of risk and return possibilities. Your risk tolerance, a financial professional can also provide extra guidance. You should be upfront and honest about your time frame and goals so that the advisor can assist you in finding something appropriate. Consider this: large risks equal big rewards, and closed mouths don't get fed. Number 4. I can always borrow and pay for it later. I don't blame someone for believing this. It sounds reasonable, assuming you have, how would I put it, minimal financial understanding. When you have money in a bank account, it may appear logical to withdraw it when you need it. However, catching up on savings might be more difficult than it looks, and you will lose whatever money you would have made in the interim. So now that you've identified what you're doing incorrectly, how do you deal with it? It's quite tough to catch up after falling behind, except that you will have to change your lifestyle to pay yourself back if you don't have a choice. Certain items must be sacrificed in order to refill your resources and meet your annual savings goal. In an emergency, borrowing from yourself is preferable to using a credit card. Simply ensure that you have a strategy in place to replenish any lost money as quickly as feasible. Number 5. I don't have enough to invest. If you have enough money to go to Starbucks in the morning to spend on Netflix, new shoes, or a bottle of wine, you have money to invest. The final element to financial freedom is what we choose to spend our money on. If you prioritize long-term savings above non-essential material expenditures, you'll find that you have significantly more money to invest than you realize. People commonly overspend because they rationalize the purchase of products they do not need. Splurging on products like a luxury dinner or even a lavish Caribbean trip is frequently accompanied by an explanation or justification, such as "you've worked hard this year and deserve a reward." This is not to say that you should never splurge or rejoice, but it may drastically drain your money if it becomes a habit. You'll be better off financially if you change your thinking and instead reward yourself for avoiding an impulse purchase. Number 6. Unless I'm getting a house, my credit score isn't that important. If the so-called American dream of home ownership isn't for you, you might think you can get away with not maintaining your credit score. Your credit score, on the other hand, isn't just utilized when you apply for a mortgage. Depending on your credit score, it might save or cost you a lot of money. How do you get around this, you may wonder? Consider the prospect of having your credit checked at any moment. Manage your debt and bills wisely, it's an essential component. Many landlords, for example, will consider your credit score when determining whether or not to rent you a home, and utility companies will routinely run credit checks before allowing you to register for a household utility account. Banks will check your credit score before lending you money for various types of loans, such as personal loans, credit cards, and business loans. As you can see, our credit score is strongly intertwined with your daily life. Number 7. If I ignore those debt collectors, they'll go away. When was the last time ignoring an issue fixed it? Some people may believe that debt collectors are out of sight, out of mind, so the solution is to confront it. Debt collectors aren't going away anytime soon. If you find yourself in this situation, don't worry. Instead, be proactive. To begin, learn about your legal rights, which may include contesting the debt if required. Don't be afraid to haggle. You might be able to work out a payment plan or have some of the debt forgiven if you promise to pay it off by a certain date. Consider seeking help from a credit counselor if required. Number 8. I can depend on Social Security and Medicare when I grow old. We tell ourselves this so we don't have to save as much money while we're younger and can spend more, but the younger you are and the wealthier you are, the less probable it is that you'll ever be able to rely on Social Security. Social Security was never meant to be a main source of retirement income. Rather, it was supposed to provide a safety net. Consider that today's average Social Security payment for retirees is the same as a minimum wage job. Most Americans require between $2,500 and $4,000 a month to be truly self-sufficient in retirement. Many individuals can get by on less, but there isn't much to live on. Current research on the Social Security Trust Fund indicates that it is underfunded. Something drastic must be done to keep the program running beyond 2033, and new conjecture shows that younger people may only be able to count on 70 to 75% of their Social Security payments. You should save yourself now. Rather than depending on a collapsing system, begin saving in employer-sponsored retirement plans with matching contributions wherever possible, as well as IRAs for additional tax-efficient savings. Number 9. It's not like my debt will go away anyway. I'm okay with another charge. Because we live in such a consumer-driven environment, avoiding the need to spend is quite difficult. Many of the people you've probably met over the years have utilized spending to make themselves feel better about their financial predicament, almost fooling themselves that they can handle it. You've most likely done it as well. However, this thinking is analogous to sitting at the bottom of a deep hole and arguing that the only way out is to dig the hole deeper. Rather than convincing yourself that you are helpless, acknowledge that you have the potential to change your financial situation. It took you a long time to go into debt, and it will take you a long time to get out of debt. That's just the way it is. It is possible to become debt-free, and once you're debt-free, you'll be surprised at how good it feels to be debt-free and not have to live paycheck to paycheck. Concentrate your efforts on paying off one loan at a time, either the one with the highest interest rate, which will save you the most money over time, or the one with the least amount, which will be paid off the quickest. Then move on to the next one, and so on until all of them are paid off. Number 10. My friends go on tons of vacations, but they earn less than I do. This keeps about half of the world's populations awake at night, so you may be forgiven for feeling this way. Your friends are either conscious spending geniuses or ignorant when it comes to money management. Consider how many times you heard one of your parents ask the other why they can't go on trips like your neighbor without fully knowing how their neighbor's spending was broken down when you were a kid. They are more likely to be overspenders than purposeful spenders. To put it in another way, would you take grammar lessons from a friend who failed English 101? So why hold up your normal buddies as role models who make ordinary financial decisions and end up with ordinary results, aka not having enough money? The remedy is to concentrate on your financial goals and try to mimic those who make sound financial decisions. Don't be like people who show off their affluence by spending more money than they actually have. You're probably right if you assume they can't afford it. And that's all for today. What do you think about these 10 lies that we tell ourselves about money? Join the discussion in the comments below, and if you like the video, please click the like and subscribe button. We'll see you guys in the next video.